Yes, now I'm speaking on peace and race, sin, sex, and race. Now I'm going to start off with this story about the GI. This is in Dead Magazine of 1992. And story is about the GIs who went to Germany. And over it says 8,000 Negroes were fathered illegitimate children in Germany who face paternity suits when the occupation ends. An informed source and Bond disclosed. According to the source, the proposed peace treaty with West Germany will allow unmarried German mothers of approximately 94,000 children the right to sue for upkeep. So this is a 1992 Ebony magazine, and as stated, paternity suit of Negroes in Germany. Okay, the next story, like I said, it's nothing new. This sin, sex, and race. And this story is about a blonde jailed in death of a Negro lover. See the whore? She had a Negro lover, and the silly man, followed her to a bar where she had a new boyfriend, and they began to fight. And the guys followed him home and resumed the fighting. And then I guess they shoved him out the window or someplace. And now the blue-eyed blonde is held for murder of the Negro man. And then there's the case of the white mother who was a foster mother to all these mixed children. All this was going on in 1952 for the mixed children. And now one more article I'm going to read about mixing, and that's Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt, this is in 1952. Like I said, Eartha Kitt was to marry this Belgian man. I don't know if they ever got married. Of course, they call her a sexy dancer, singer, Eartha Kitt. Could marry the Belgian man, and there's not a picture of her. There's plenty of pictures of her in other Jet magazine, but this is just a story about her, where she's supposed to marry a Belgian man in New York Beat, because she lived in New York. Okay, that's story of miscegenation. And now I'm going to read this article, like I said, from Ebony. Ebony, it was in 1960, I think it's 1961. 1962, October, Ebony, 1962, about miscegenation. I was going to say facts, and by Deron Bennett. And he states, from the beginning, English colonists, following Abraham's example, married and mated with haggars, red and black. Now they call it Haggers. He didn't mean red and black. About Abraham and Hagar. Even more distressing to the Puritan mind was the broad tolerance of the English woman who married and mate with Hagar's brother. Hagar was a maid, in the Bible, who was a maid to Sarah, the Abraham sex relationship. It's a prescription began early. In 1630, a bare 21 years after the Whitechapel sermon, one Hughes David, this was a white man named Hughes Davids, was soundly whipped before an assemblage of Negroes and others for abusing himself to the dishonor of God and the shame of Christians by defiling his body in lying with a Negro. I imagine that's a Negro woman. And they call that defilement. 40 years later, white women were being whipped and sold into slavery and extended servitude for showing open preference for Negro men. That means white women during that time. If they showed preference for Negro men, they sold the white woman into slavery. So you can see this thing has been going on for a long time. The defilement. And I say that if anything, black person was defiled by sleeping with those things instead of the whites being defiled. They flipped the script. The truth will come out. And now this, I'm going to repeat this. It said, how much do Negroes spend for freedom? They spend for drugs, alcohol, entertainment, a lot of excessive cars, excessive clothes, excessive food. But how much do we spend for freedom? It takes the cause to be the boys. Okay, so now it's time for us to put our money where our mouth are. And it's good that Michael Jordan donated $100 million to a safe organization really called Black Lives Matter. But we have to spend money for our freedom. Freedom is not free.